Hello again, everybody. It is Scott Casper, Takedown Media. Our coverage of the sport continues today. The Nike hot seat heads to Mannheim, PA, home of the Eagles. And to talk with us today, the head coach, David Bolyard. David, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Scott?
I'm good. Now let's get all excited because we're going to talk about Team GPA. We're going to be talking about all academic honors. Guess who took it, man? The Eagles of Eastern Michigan. You guys win this thing, beating out Harvard. You come in with a 3.382, and the award goes to you guys, the NWCA All Academic Team. I think that is wonderful. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it's something that we're extremely excited about. It was one of the goals that's we had talked about with our team coming into the season was this was something that we wanted to start competing to try to win. We've got a great group of guys in our team, and we've recruited that way. We've recruited good students in the past, and I just thought we were in position. We finished 30th the year before. But I kind of felt we were in a position where we'd start competing. I don't know if the goal was to win it right away. Obviously, the goal is always to win it, but I didn't know if we would be in a situation where we could win it right away. But it was something that we wanted to start working towards competing to try to win. And again, our guys have done a great work in the classroom. They've got a lot of support from our student athletic support system and from our athletics department. And I'd like to thank from our coaching staff and have done a great job for us in the room and definitely in the classroom. So it's awesome to be recognized for something, especially an award so prestigious as the All Academic Team Award.
I wanted to do this interview like 2 days ago, but you've been busy doing what you do, coaching and planning, and there's some travel in there and some recruiting. But I was patient. I wanted to talk about this because you guys were able to rely on the resources that the athletic department made possible for you guys. And this is what's key. There are a lot of athletic departments around the country that provide resources and that are not used to the fullest. To the utmost ability. That's the best part. You guys did this and worked in tandem. That's how it's supposed to work. And I love the fact that your student athletic support staff, the student athletes, the coaches, and then of course the athletic department was behind this from the very beginning. That they really wanted to see you guys, with your hand raised academically.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important, especially in our situation where we don't have tons of resources as far as providing staff. If we're comparing us to maybe a Big Ten school, I'm sure they have more academic advisors than we do. But it's just us being able to build on the structure they have in place. And a huge part of this is you can have all the resources in the world, but the kids got to want to take advantage of them. We've done a good job of getting good kids here and kids that value academics, and they're willing to take advantage of the resources we have in place for them. And like you said, everyone's working as a team to help these guys succeed. Obviously on the mat, but definitely in the classroom as well.
It's interesting to watch, and David, you've been a part of it for so many years now as an athlete and a younger coach. Now, of course, as you exercise your years at Eastern Michigan, we're seeing a change. We're seeing a change where academics is important, where wrestling is leading in many cases academic performance in various athletic departments in various schools around the country. We're seeing wrestling become a leader. And it's not just in the Ivies. We're seeing it at South Dakota State. We're seeing it at SIU Edwardsville. We're seeing it across the country. And it's got to make you at least know that, endorse the idea that you're on the right track.
Yeah, I think it's the foundation of our program, and I just think it's specific to our sport, where our sport is a lot about being disciplined and being able to commit. And obviously, it's a lot about talent too, but not as much. I mean, if we're comparing it to football and basketball, those sports are very, heavily involved with how talented you are. Our sport, talent is definitely important, but you got to be dedicated, you got to be committed, and that's one of the lifestyle decisions you make when you're dedicated, committed. You're trying to be successful at everything you do, and the academics has always been a good indicator for us of how dedicated and committed you are, obviously as a student, but I think that carries over. I think in our sport, because that matters so much, it's a huge indicator for us of how dedicated the person is and how committed he's going to be, obviously towards academics, but that translates over to your wrestling career as well.
I know and folks, we're talking with David Bolyard, the head coach of the Eagles of Eastern Michigan. Now here, let's talk about how this comes about. There's a total of 12 student athletes from each program. So the team GPA is determined using a system that includes 12 student athletes from each program. A total of 10 of these came in from the wrestlers that were entries in the NCAA tournament conference qualifier. And the Eagles finished 30th overall last year in the 2013-2014 academic year. But this year, they come out on top, edging out Harvard by, what was the percentage point between Harvard and the Eagles?
1/100th of a point.
1/100th of a point. And you know, we are splitting hairs, but you and I talked about if a student has a bad semester, is very evident in the fall of the GPA. Rebuilding that GPA is something different entirely. I mean, it's harder to rebuild a GPA than it is to have a tough semester, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things you have to be disciplined about. And, notice, I think, again, going back to our student athletic support system, once kids are starting to go that route, be able to catch them before it's too late and get them with tutors that they're able to meet with through our academic advisors and at our study tables, and just catching those kids before it gets to that point and helping them rebound. And sometimes it is managing, the kids are in classes where it's tough for them, and, just managing that class the best you can and taking advantage of all the other classes that you're taking. But it's tough, if you slip up for one semester, it really puts you in a hole that you've got to try to dig out of. So the goal is to not let that happen and be proactive and catch those kids before it's too late and make sure they get the proper resources to make sure that they finish strong in those classes.
You had some outstanding performance, in particular, from your redshirt senior, Brandon Zarup. He garnered all academic honors for the second straight season with a 3.83 GPA while working on his MBA. Talk about that leadership that he provided.
Brandon's been great for us. Obviously on the mat, he's a two-time NCAA qualifier, but he's just a great person. He's not extremely vocal, but he's just one of those guys that does everything right, socially, in the wrestling room, in the classroom. And again, I'd like to think that's the foundation of our program is getting good kids here and making it a lifestyle where you're trying to be successful in everything you do, and he embodies that. I mean, probably better than anyone else on the team. Although we've got a bunch of guys like that. I'm proud of the type of kids that we have on our team, and he's just a very good representative of what we're looking for.
I love it. 157-pounder. I think he closed out his second 20-win season, all the while, pursuing excellence in academics. And I love that. Second at-large bid to the NCAA championship. This is the first time, I think, if my information is correct, this is the first time a MAC school has ever won this title.
Yeah, if my assistant Luke Smith has done his research right, that's true. So that's depending on if Luke's right, but I'm pretty sure he's correct.
So it's all on Luke, is it?
Exactly.
All right, so the MAC is put on notice. The balance of the MAC schools, you guys are leading there. Now it's up to the rest of the schools around the country, the rest of the programs out there to really buckle down and focus, see if we can even improve on this GPA, this overall GPA of 3.382, see if we can get it up to a 3.4. Man, I love it when wrestling leads academically because it proves out my point, and that is wrestlers are very smart people, and the art of wrestling, if you can call it that, and I think you can, but it takes somebody of great intelligence to be able to put together an incredible season. And we're proving it out at Eastern Michigan. Who are some of the other student athletes that really stood up for you guys as far as academic performance?
Well, obviously, when you're in this situation, there's quite a few of them. But Vinny Bizzuto, who's a redshirt junior for us, actually got hurt at the MAC tournament, or I think he would have been at the NCAA tournament again. He's been a very good student for us, and again, similar to Brandon, he's the type of guy that's bought in, and he's living the right lifestyle, and he's doing everything right. Nick Barber's done great. I think Nick Barber's GPA is like a 3.8 or 3.9.
Wow.
And really, we had freshmen getting 4.0s. Really all across the board. I mean, I think we only had one guy under a 3.0 of those 12 guys, and that's a kid that when we started out, maybe dug himself in a hole early on and has done great since then. He really has done great, but he dug himself in a little bit of a hole as a freshman, and maybe just recently started buying into living it, on all aspects, and has done great since then. So there's a lot of them. I mean, you don't get to that GPA without having everyone on board. So, but those two stick out. I'm sure there's others I'm forgetting, but those two have done a great job, along with Brandon. So,
the honor is awarded annually, and it contains 118 student athletes, and of those, to prove my point that wrestlers are smart, okay, I'm going to bang this drum just a little bit more. 28 of the 118 student athletes were All-Americans. This year's list also included half of the Division I champs, half of them, and 8 of the 20 wrestlers who competed in the finals in St. Louis in March. So it goes to, I think, if anything, to further prove my point, or to help me make my point, to illustrate, if you will, that these guys are very bright. So, wrestlers, I'm glad that, they came up with this thing, 1990, when it first made its first appearance, this award. But now it's really starting to sink in, and college coaches such as yourself are not just buying into it, they're really endorsing it. And let's talk a little bit about your staff, because they're the ones that really those are the frontline guys.
Yeah. So we talked earlier about there's just checks and balances, obviously, that our SAS department has put together, but also from our end, and just coming up with a plan to keep checks and balances on guys, and they're doing a lot of the legwork with that. So actually, they're doing all the legwork with that. I have those guys going out and they're doing class checks on any returner that's under a 3.0, all freshmen, trying to build the right habits with all our freshmen. And after that freshman year, you got a good idea of where they're at. So again, just identifying the guys that we think we need to keep tabs on. And our Scott and Luke are out checking those guys and make sure they're in class. Luke's also very proud that they developed a class check account for Snapchat. And at night, when Luke and Scott aren't able to go check them in their night classes, they have to Snapchat a picture of them in class so we can make sure that they're really there. So again,
I love that.
I told our administration, and I brought that up. I was like, I wish it was my idea, but that one was Luke's. So you just got to be creative, again, when you're not dealing with the most staff members, and just putting the emphasis on it. And I think that's what we've done, and recruit the right people, and let them take advantages of the hard work that other people are willing to help them with, to make sure they're successfully as an academic student as well.
David, if you could give any advice to young coaches out there, and with regard to winning this award, or being responsible to the academics of the institution, what would that advice be?
Well, it's got to matter to you, and I know everyone's going to sell that to a kid, but it really does have to matter to you, and you go out and find kids that it matters to them too. So. We put a lot of emphasis on kids that want to be good students, and because I think it carries over to wrestling. I don't think it just stops there in the classroom. So it's something that I said earlier that we're competitive about. We want to be at the top or near the top consistently, and you got to go out and find kids that's important to them too. And again, it's not just because we want to be good in the classroom. I think it carries over, and I think this is the type of stuff that's going to help build our program into a successful program. So again, we've put an emphasis on that, and we've put an emphasis on finding the kids that matters to as well.
We've been talking with David Bolyard. He's been our guest in the Nike Hot Seat today. Our best to Scott Mattingly, assistant coach for you, and of course, Lightning Luke Smith. I think he still got it, doesn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you don't want to mess
he's
with
just a little
Luke.
bit of that Lightning. He's getting up there, but he still goes by Lightning.
Yeah, I tell you what, Luke is the evidence that lightning will strike twice. It truly is. David, it's always good to talk to you. Congratulations to you, your staff, the kids, all the boys, and of course the athletic department at Eastern Michigan. Number 1 ranked Division I all academic GPA. Let me say the number one more time: 3.382. That is indeed the top spot in the NWCA all academic honors roll. And Brandon Zerup was perhaps king of the effort there in Mannheim, but the Eagles beneficiaries of the overall performance of an outstanding team effort. David, thank you for the time. We appreciate it. Did you enjoy your time in the Nike Hot Seat?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. I'm Scott Casper. We appreciate you watching the special edition and the special interview with David Bolyard live from Mannheim, PA. We appreciate it. It's Takedown. Thanks for watching.